Welcome to today's English listening practice. This podcast is special because it uses a natural and simple method. You don't need to repeat after me. You don't need to memorize words. You don't need to study grammar rules. All you need to do is listen. Just listen with calm and attention. When you listen every day, your brain starts to recognize the sounds, the rhythm, and the meaning of English. It happens naturally without stress. This is the same way children learn their first language. Children don't study grammar. They don't open books. They don't take notes. They just listen to their parents, to their family, to the people around them. After some time, the words become familiar. One day, the child starts to speak. That is natural learning. You can do the same with English. If you relax, if you listen every day, English will enter your mind and stay in your subconscious. You don't need to force it. You don't need to worry about mistakes. The secret is listening. So, in this episode, I will tell you about my day, my thoughts, some news I read, and some plans for the future. It will be like a simple conversation with a friend. You only need to sit back, relax, and listen. Let's begin. This morning, I woke up, and the first thing I noticed was the sound of rain. The window was wet, the street outside was shiny and dark. Rain always changes the mood of the city. Some people walk faster with umbrellas, others wait under a roof, and some just accept the water. I made coffee and sat near the window. I like watching the rain with a warm drink in my hand. The world feels slower. The sound of drops is like music. While drinking coffee, I opened the news on my phone. The first headline was about the weather forecast. It said this winter will be colder than usual. Some scientists think it will be the coldest winter in 10 years. I don't love the cold, but I also don't love extreme heat. I prefer balance. Autumn is my favorite season because it feels calm. Another article was about the economy. Prices are going up again. Food, electricity, gas. Everything is more expensive. It feels like every month we pay more for the same things. Sometimes I wonder, how do families manage this? How do people with children, with big responsibilities, survive all these price changes? The next article was about public transport. The city announced new trains for next year. They will be faster, cleaner, and more modern. I smiled when I read this because buses here are always late and very crowded. Sometimes I wait for 2 or 3 buses before I can enter. So maybe trains will make life easier. Scrolling down, I found a story about sports. The local football team lost again last night. Some fans were angry, others were laughing, and some were already talking about the next game. Football always creates drama. I don't watch many games, but I like to observe how emotional people become. It is almost like a theatre performance. Another story was international. Scientists discovered a new planet very far away that may have water. Reading about space always makes me feel small. The universe is so big, and we are here, on this small blue planet, worried about bills, buses, and football. Sometimes I think it is funny, but it also makes me curious. What if there is life on that new planet? What if one day we travel there? After finishing the coffee and the news, I closed my phone. I didn't want to read more because too much news can feel heavy. Sometimes it is better to just live the day and not worry about every headline. After the news, I looked around my apartment. The kitchen was a little dark. The tiles are old and some are broken. The light is weak. I thought maybe it is time for a renovation. Not a big one, just small changes. Better lights, maybe new shelves and fresh paint. The living room is also very plain. The walls are white and I feel they need color. I want to paint them green or light blue. Green feels natural, like a forest. Blue feels calm, like the sky. I imagine myself reading a book in a green room with plants. That feels peaceful. I also want to make the balcony better. It is very small, but I think I can add a chair, some lights, and maybe a few flowers. I imagine sitting there at night with tea, looking at the sky. Simple things, but they change life. In the afternoon, I clean the apartment. I don't enjoy cleaning, but I like the result. While cleaning, I listen to music. Sometimes jazz, sometimes soft piano, sometimes rock. Today it was jazz, and it created a nice rhythm. Music makes boring tasks lighter. Later, I cooked lunch. Rice, vegetables, and eggs. Simple, healthy, and tasty. I am trying to eat better these days. Less sugar, less fried food, more vegetables. Food is energy, and I want good energy. After lunch, I sat on the sofa and wrote in my new notebook. Yes, I still use paper notebooks. I know many people use apps, but I prefer paper. It feels more personal, more real. I wrote down some goals: renovate the kitchen, paint the living room, improve the balcony, eat better, walk more, and read every day. Small goals, but important. In the evening, I checked the news again. This time it was about technology. A new smartphone was released and people waited in long lines to buy it. I never understand why people wait hours for a phone. It is just a phone. But maybe it is more than that. Maybe it is a symbol. People want to feel updated, modern, proud. I don't buy new phones often. I use mine until it breaks. But I admit new technology is exciting. Another article was about artificial intelligence. Some people are excited, some are scared. AI can do many things now: write, draw, compose music. It can help, but it can also replace jobs. That is the big question. Will technology free us, or will it control us? I think the answer depends on how we use it. If we use it with wisdom, it can be powerful. If not, it can create big problems. Technology also changes how we communicate. People spend hours on their phones, scrolling, watching videos, sending messages. We are connected, but sometimes we feel alone. I think balance is important. Technology is good, but we also need real conversations, face-to-face time, silence, and nature. Later at night, I read a book. It is about history. It describes life hundreds of years ago, before electricity, before cars, before the internet. People lived slower lives. They used candles, worked with their hands, cooked simple meals. Life was harder, but also maybe calmer. Reading this book made me think, our modern life is very fast. Too many notifications, too many distractions. Sometimes I feel tired, not from work, but from noise. Books help me slow down. They give me silence. I also remembered my childhood. Playing outside, running, laughing with friends until the sun went down. No phones, no internet, just games and imagination. It was simple, and it was enough. Sometimes I miss that. I also thought about the future. Places I want to visit: Japan, Italy, and maybe South America. Japan fascinates me with its mix of old temples and modern cities. Italy calls me with its food and art. South America attracts me with its nature, mountains and forests. Maybe one day I will travel more. Before going to bed, I opened the window. The night was quiet. The moon was bright. I stayed there for a few minutes, breathing slowly. Simple moments like that give me peace. Finally, I brushed my teeth, drank water, and went to bed. I thought about the day. Not dramatic, not extraordinary, but good. And sometimes that is enough. This was today's story. You listened for many minutes. That is powerful. Remember, you don't need to repeat. You don't need to memorize. You don't need to study grammar. Your brain listened. Your brain understood. It is working now, even if you don't notice. It is connecting words, sounds, and meanings. This is how learning happens. Don't worry about mistakes. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. That is normal. The important part is listening. Listening every day. Think of this as exercise for your brain. Just like running makes your body strong, listening makes your English strong. Not after one day, but after many days, you will see the difference. So relax, trust the process. Listen tomorrow, and the next day and the next. English will become more natural. It will feel familiar. It will feel easy. Thank you for being here today. Come back tomorrow. Listen again. Grow every day. See you next time.